NET Sports, Nebraska's home for sports, is live from Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska for the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation State High School Boys Championships. And hello, everybody. I'm Larry Putney along with Steve Simpak. Great to have you with us today. Last week we crowned the girls' championships. Today we turn our attention to the boys' side, and we have another team back once again on the boys' side in Columbus. And boy, did they look good last year. Everybody back from that team.
Larry, they are probably the best spare shooting, most likely team to have the least amount of errors. They are great fundamentally. They pick up their spares. It's like turnovers in football. They eliminate those errors, and that's what usually puts them in the finals year after year. Coach John Eckholt's got them ready to go.
And we're going to see one of the top bowlers in the state in Class B, Lexington's Sam Fred.
Any college coach that's out there that wants a powerhouse for their team, watch the way Sam Fred throws the ball. He's a strong left-hander, a lanky kid with a lot of leverage, plays the far outside line. We're going to see him right out next to the gutter today, but watch those pins fly. When he hits the pocket, Larry, those pins have no chance.
Last week it was the girls. Today it's the boys. We will crown 4 state championships today at Sun Valley Lanes. When we come back, we'll start it off in Class D.
Programming is provided in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska.
These cost about $50. This costs about $57,000. Choosing to use these can help you avoid this. And since inactivity is a better predictor of death than smoking, high blood pressure, and even heart disease, using these more and this less could save you more than money. A message that's good to know from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska.
Programming on NET television is provided in part by Education Quest Foundation. For over 20 years, Education Quest has provided free college planning resources to help students search colleges, search for scholarships, complete financial aid applications, and learn more about student loans. Education Quest is located in Kearney, Lincoln, and Omaha. Appointments available at 800-666-3721.
Hi, I'm Matt Davison, and I drive Nebraska's highways almost every day. Please use caution when driving in winter weather, and watch for highway workers as they clear the roads. Slow down when you meet a snowplow, and don't brake suddenly if you're traveling in front of one. They can't stop as quickly as a car or pickup. If you're going to head out in winter weather, check out the Nebraska Travel Information website at 511nebraska.org, or just dial them at 511. Don't take any chances this year. If there's ice and snow, take it slow.
And welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes. We're now ready for the boys Class D state championship, the first of the day between the Howells Bobcats and the Newman Grove Blue Jays. For the introductions, let's go to our public address announcer, Les Amory. Les.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation Boys Class D State Championship, featuring the Howells and Newman Grove teams. Let's meet the Newman Grove Blue Jays. Keith Backus, Tanner Kruger, Jonathan Doman, Jared Rasmussen, Jake Kaufman, John Lorenzen, Josh London, head coach Jim Kaufman. Now, the Bobcats from Howells. Joe Ritzdorf, Aaron Brodeski, Adam Brodeski, EJ Brodeski, Nick Weeman, Mitch Tomka, head coach Ann Brodesky.
Okay. So that's the introductions for the Class D State Championship. When we come back, the bowling begins on the boys' side of things. We'll be right back at Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln.
Brought to you in part by the Ellen and Marcia Bear Foundation and by the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation, encouraging high schools to sanction the sport of bowling across Nebraska.
Programming provided by Nebraska Public Power District.
My job with Nebraska Public Power District takes me to new heights, offers me challenging experiences. Like me, the utility cares about Nebraska. I go home at night knowing that what I do makes a difference. To put it simply, I am where I want to be.
Nebraska Public Power District, always there when you need us. Together with your local public power utility.
Rising from acres of Midwestern farm fields, a revolution is coming. A new era of energy independence from foreign oil. It's called soy biodiesel. Made with soybean oil, this fuel is a sustainable, renewable resource. America, it's time for an oil change. Soy biodiesel, grown in the Midwest.
This is NET1.
And welcome back to Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln, Nebraska. Our first championship battle of the day between the Howells Bobcats and the Newman Grove Blue Jays in Class D. Welcome back to Sun Valley. Let's take a look at the lineups. First for the Howells Bobcats, coached by Ann Brodesky. Her three sons on the team. You see in the middle, Aaron, Adam, and E.J. Brodesky. Joe Ritzdorf at the top there, the junior. Nick Weeman and Mitch Tomka, also members of this Bobcats team. And for the Blue Jays from Newman Grove, Jim Kaufman, the head coach, Keith Backus, Tanner Kruger, Jonathan Doman, Jared Rasmussen, Jake Kaufman, Josh Lorenzen, and Josh London. So about ready to kick things off. Newman Grove's girls were also in the Class D State Championship matchup, losing to McCool Junction, and now it's the boys' turn to try to win a state championship as they take on the Howells Bobcats. And we'll get things off, and starting off on the left lane will be the Howells Bobcats, coached by Ann Brodesky. And this is Joe Ritzdorf to start things off. And a nice shot by Joe, but a pocket 7-10. That unfortunate.
Good shot there, Larry. Just, unfortunately, just a tough result.
And now up is Keith Backus from Newman Grove. And Backus, straight ball right down the middle. And a big strike to start things off for Keith Backus. Yesterday, this Newman Grove squad got down in the semifinals, 1-0 and then 2-1, and came back and won it. And Ritzdorf right between them. Doesn't count for 3 in bowling.
Nope. Got to get at least one of those, Larry, to hang on to count.
And that right through the nose by Tanner Kruger. Kruger, a junior, high average on this team, averaging 165. Now in the left-hand lane. Here's Aaron Brodesky. Brodesky, the sophomore, goes Brooklyn. Leaving the 6'10". Now the important thing here for Tanner is just to get 2. Nope.
Typically, you're going to see people go cross lane at those spares. Tanner elected to go right down the left-hand side, and on those drier boards out towards the edge of the channel, the gutter area, the ball hooks in. You don't want to get into a situation where you wish you had those 2 pins back, Larry.
And a nice spare conversion by Aaron Brodesky to get his squad back in it. So through 2 frames, essentially all even. Here's Jonathan Doman, one of the most improved bowlers on this Newman Grove squad this year. He's averaging 145, and on the left lane for the Howells Bobcats, Adam Brodetsky, a freshman. Adam comes in a little high.
Outside part of the lane hooks more than the inside part of the lane. Changing balls at the spare there is Jonathan Doman, and that's unfortunate that he missed. But I'll make a little comment later on ball change later when it comes to spares.
And a nice conversion there by the freshman Brodetsky.
Typically when you change balls at spares, Larry, you try to change balls to go something a little more direct that hooks less, so you don't overcompensate for shooting the spare. And what you sacrifice is you get 2 different bowling balls, usually 2 different makes, 2 different feels. One ball doesn't feel the same compared to the other when it comes to grip, so a lot of coaches just teach maybe flattening the ball out at spares, trying to go a little straighter instead of changing equipment, unless the lanes are really hooking a lot, which they're not today. A lot of conditioner on the lane today.
Well, really, in what high school kids see on a day-to-day basis, you aren't going to see lanes that are overly aggressive where you need to switch balls on a consistent basis. And for the young kids, it seems like it's just a fad now. You have to have a spare ball, and a lot of times it doesn't even hook a lot less than the other ball, but that's their spare ball, so they get used to it and have to pick those up.
They see it on television with the PBA Tour and even some collegiate events on television, and so you basically need to preach accuracy. You need to preach practice. You need to preach being accountable up there on the lanes and making sure you make good shots.
And that was Nick Weeman trying to convert. Nick comes up a little light on that, so a couple of open frames through 4 for the Bobcats, but the same on the other side of the ledger for Newman Grove. And a 9 count here, and we're all even. And we are all even through 4. Both teams with 49 in the 4th, so a tight match here in game number 1 in this Class D Boys State Championship battle. The Baker format, the way it works is each bowler bowls 1 frame. There are 4 bowlers in classes C and D that bowl for each team. So they will bowl, the first bowler would bowl the first, help me out here, the first, 5th, and 8th, 9th frame. First, 5th,
Correct.
and 9th.
You want your first and second bowlers to probably be 2 of your more consistent, maybe 2 of your go-to people, because they're going to get 3 frames in the match versus 2 for the rest of the players.
And then in Baker, in classes A and B, when there are 5 bowlers, your first bowler bowls the first and 6th, 2nd, 7th, so on, and each bowler would bowl a frame.
It's the ultimate team sport. I mean, you think about, bowling in a typical league setting where everybody bowls their individual games, all 3 games, each bowler competes all 3. Really, you need to be clicking all together in Baker-style bowling. You need to have a total team effort. So, one hot bowler can help you, but, boy, you really need to have the rest of your players on.
Here's Aaron Brodetsky on the right lane, and the 6th frame comes in a little light. That'll leave the 1-2-9. And Tanner Kruger back up for his 2nd frame bowling, the team's 6th on the left-hand lane.
Hard and straight, right at him.
That leaves the 9 pin.
Which has its merits. You see a lot of, maybe the more polished players that have a tendency to hook the ball at the pocket. But, at this point in the game, you need to be accurate. And, typical with a championship setting, we're seeing some nerves, some errors, missed spare attempts.
Well, and for all of these kids, it would be their first time not only in an arena-style finals, as neither one of these teams has been here before, at least not in 2 years, and certainly none of the players bowling now, but their first time in an arena-style finals where they aren't just looking at a bunch of lanes down the lanes. They're seeing a camera down there, and they're seeing 4 lit-up lanes and a lot of fans to their left and right, and TV crews and some. It is a bit of an adjustment here early in the first couple of games. And the freshman, Adam Brodetsky, leaves the split, and here on the left-hand
first
lane.
Foul there, Larry. On the left-hand lane. Coach Kruger didn't realize that Jared went over the foul line. So that counts as a gutter ball. They'll have to reshoot the spare at a full rack. has a very fast approach, and sometimes it's tough to put the brakes on when you've got that much speed going towards the foul line. A lot of these kids having a tough time adjusting to the amount of conditioner on the lane, so you need to slow down and go a little straighter at it.
And so that'll be a 6 count of the 7th frame with a foul and 6, and that gives Newman Grove 84 through 7 frames, and they lead Howells 84-71 as we head to the 8th frame. Here's the rock star of the team, Nick Newman. Got to end Brodetsky before, and said the night before the state championships, Nick grabbed the guitar and was playing his songs, and everybody was singing along. It's kind of a loose group they have here with Howells. Very loose bunch. And there's a nice shot and strike by Newman Grove on the left-hand lane. Jared Rasmussen, the fiery guy of this squad for Newman Grove. Here's another look at Weeman. A 5-pin right down the middle at it. Ooh, just missed us.
Can't be giving those things up. Nick enjoys bowling 4th on the team because it's minimum pressure. Carry it? No. And he gets it at the end.
It fell for the double. And that gives Newman Grove a big lead here in game number 1. You see the score there. 84 with the double working for the Blue Jays.
All right, Howells leadoff bowler. Bowler A bowls frames 1, 5, and 9. Puts the ball in the pocket. A good shot right up that second arrow area on the lane where most of the right-handed players are playing. What we call the track area.
3 in a row.
That gives Newman Grove game number 1, Larry.
So the Blue Jays will jump out to the early 1-game-to-none lead, and here in game number 1.
Good chance to go cross lane at the spare. And you know, Larry, it's interesting, and you know, I like to use other sports as comparisons to compare things back and forth with bowling. You see a lot of people go to the driving range with golf, and what do? They just mash their driver as far as they can mash it, you know, to see whether or not their swing's good. Well, you don't see a lot of kids in bowling practicing spares. You see a lot of kids just trying to hit the pocket and throw strikes. You need to be accurate. You need to pick your spares up. You need to eliminate open frames as much as possible when you get into a championship setting like this.
And how do you communicate that to the kids?
Well, you need to drill it into their heads. You need to, you know, a lot of times you'll see a lot of coaches just practice with no pins on the pin deck and just practice their targeting, practicing accuracy and hitting a spot on the lane. And that's what typically needs to be done in these situations. But just as important as strikes are spares.
Also, nerves gets the better of the Howells Bobcats here in game number 1. Newman Grove knocks off the Bobcats 163-98. So the Blue Jays with a 1-game-to-none lead here in this best-of-5 Baker-style format finals for the Class D state championship. So now we'll begin game number 2. There's Joe Ritzdorf. Coming in a little light. He leaves the 1-2.
Joe with a good fundamental game. Slow speed. Just kind of pitched that one a little wide. Joe needs to be closer to the second arrow to get that ball to land in the pocket. We've got it out towards the first arrow, the 5th board of the lane.
And the senior Keith Backus leaves the 4-pin. Interesting story with this Howells Bobcats squad. Ann Brodetsky is the head coach of the Bobcats. Here's Joe Ritzdorf trying to convert the spare. But Ann and her 3 sons, she coaches her 3 sons, Aaron, Adam, and EJ. Ann's husband, Ernie, died in 2002 of a heart attack at just 43 years old. All of her 3 sons, very young at the time, Aaron, Adam, and EJ. They all bowled. Her husband and their father, Ernie, was a big-time bowler in Howells, about a 210 average bowler. So he bowled a long time, and now she's raising Aaron, Adam, and EJ. In fact, Adam today, you'll see Adam here in a little bit, is wearing his dad's bowling shoes. He's been wearing his dad's bowling shoes all year long, and there's one of the Brodetsky boys. Aaron Brodetsky with a nice strike, the sophomore, trying to bring these Bobcats back. And a nice shot there by Tanner Kruger.
Tie ball game, Larry.
And here's a look at Adam Brodetsky. Adam, just a freshman. And a good shot. And you see those shoes that Adam wears belong to his dad. Those bowling shoes. They say he has big shoes to fill, literally.
Hope his dad wasn't a size 15. might not make for a good slide on the approach. He's going to go cross lane at the spare now. This is the 4-pin. He'll start the ball off on the right-hand side of the lane and hook it over to the left. Gave it too much room there, Larry. And so we talked about, just being straight and direct in your spares. And there's a lot of conditioner in the middle of the lane, so the ball has a tough time hooking past that. Sometimes they call it a puddle, or sometimes it's just such a large amount of conditioner in the center part of the lane that cross-lane spares make it a little more difficult. You need to go straight at them today.
Jonathan Doman.
Situation there exactly the same. Got that ball in the center part of the lane. The ball in that oil skid all the way past the 4-pin. So still a tie ball game here going into the 4th frame of game 2.
All even at 48. Here's Nick Weeman.
Well, Nick just kind of let that one get away when on the release, Nick's hand and thumb rotated to the right, more towards a 3 o'clock position. That caused that ball to go errant to the right. There's your new leaders now, Newman Grove in the driver's seat so far.
And I like what Ann did there. Ann Brodetsky, the head coach of Howells, got up and talked to Nick right away after he chopped the tin off the rack there and said, don't worry about it. One shot, probably gave him a few coaching tips and pointers, and it worked pretty well, as very easily could have converted that.
Put it where it had to go. Unfortunately, didn't carry that 7-pin on the spare, so going to be an 11-pin lead for Newman Grove coming into the 5th frame.
And there's Keith Backus of Newman Grove, and out on the right lane is Joe Ritzdorf. Joe says he's a big fan of Pete Weber. I haven't seen him throwing anything yet, or running up and down the lanes, or screaming. So
doesn't have his sunglasses on either. So. Now, what has happened here the last 2 times for Joe up on the approach? Joe has been in the pretty good line of the pocket. Joe has, but both times the ball's come up light. What a good on-lane adjustment would be for the next time Joe's up on a full rack would be to move his feet and his target a little more to the right to get out into the part of the bowling lane that has a little more friction. The ball should hook up into the pocket a little better. We'll see how he navigates this 2-5 spare, if he can get that ball through that heavy conditioner area in the center part of the lane. And he did, just barely. That's big. That keeps Howells in. Doesn't give Newman Grove too big of a lead.
11-pin advantage right now for Newman Grove. Up on the left lane is Aaron Brodetsky. Aaron coming up just a little light.
Aaron looking down at his thumb like the ball may have slipped off his hand a little too soon there.
It is the universal sign, isn't it?
Looking at your hand.
Yeah. (87-74), a 13-pin advantage.
Howells right now keeps shooting themselves in the foot with all these open frames. They've only had 4 spare conversions now in the first game and a half out of possible 15 frames. So Newman Grove plugs away, another spare. Spare working in the 6th gives Newman Grove a possible 27 pin or 24 pin lead, Larry.
Just a little wide by Adam.
On an open frame, nothing hurt there. Comes back and makes a spare. There's no harm, no foul there. But Newman Grove, with a strike here, can take that lead to over 25 pins. See how he handles the spare. Better shot.
And a good cover.
All right, nothing hurt there for Howells.
One advantage of having a lot of conditioner or oil in the middle of the lane is you can get away with a tug or two. If you pull it just a little bit, a lot of times it'll sit right in the hole, and that's what we saw there.
That would have gave Newman Grove a 28-pin lead, but now with a strike here by Howells' Nick Weeman, it brings this match back to almost even. Right down the middle, in the pocket, good shot. Howells being down 1-0 here in this Class D boys match needs to convert this spare. Howells will put him back within 5 pins.
Jared Rasmussen. Jared leaves the 5-pin. He's the fiery guy on this Newman Grove squad.
He came sprinting down the ramp there on the introductions, and he's a big boy. I'm sure he probably plays some sort of offensive or defensive line position for Newman Grove's football team. He's got some beef on him. Spare needed here by Howells, and good job. That puts him right back within about 5 pins.
Weeman kind of subdued today. Watching him yesterday in the semifinals, to the match to go to the state championship. Every time he made a shot, he was about 4 feet off the lane coming back. So he'll get a little loose here and fired up.
Good cover by Jared. Keeps Newman Grove ahead by 10 pins. Going into the 9th frame, an important frame. You'd love to get a strike working to go into that big 10th frame.
Here's Ritzdorf. Leaves the bucket on the left side.
Just having a tough time getting the ball in the pocket. Larry, he's been in the right area just about every shot. Needs to make a slight adjustment to get that ball flush into the pocket.
And here's Keith Backus. Keith right down the middle. He'll leave the 4-pin. So let's see if Ritzdorf can keep the Bobcats in this second game. They trail 131-118 through 8. Down 13 pins. Need the spare. Not quite going to get back. That's just not hooking across the middle. And you saw the look on Joe's face. He probably put it right where he wanted to. Just so much conditioner across the middle, they're not going to get that reaction.
It's got to hang on, Larry. And ooh, that could have really forced Howells' hand there. Would have made Howells double to have a chance to win this second game. See if they can answer back here with a strike, and they do. It's going to make it close.
Big shot by Aaron Brodetsky.
Possible 156 for Howells. Another strike by Howells, and it's going to force Newman Grove to mark.
And he'll leave a 3-pin.
Big break there. Had the 9 and the 10 standing there for a moment.
So now a strike needed by Aaron Brodetsky to stay alive. If he doesn't strike here, the game is over.
Needs a strike to win. Oh, tough break. It's going to give Newman Grove a 2-0 lead.
And you see, walking back and talking with the coaches, there's a look at Aaron Brodetsky, but Tanner Kruger, Newman Grove, walked back to talk to his coaches to see exactly what he needed to do, and he doesn't need to do a thing.
Nope.
In fact, they're going to put in a sub here and let John Lorenzen, the sophomore, pick up the spare. One more time. Here's a look at Brodetsky, though, on the split conversion attempt. Slides it by. But John Lorenzen will step in now on lane 28 to try to convert the spare. And you like to see this late in the game, out of hand, give everybody an opportunity.
Well, in Baker Bowling, you can substitute at any time. It's another beauty of the team aspect of Baker Bowling. They're going to let John have let Josh have a shot at a full rack of pins here. And if you've got a bowler that seems to be struggling and you've got another one on the bench, you can substitute at any time.
Up to 2 substitutions per game.
You bet.
And so the 7-pin count on the spare will put them at 157. So they win game number 2, 157 to 144. Much closer to game 1, but still Newman Grove now on top, 2 games to none.
163 and 157 for Newman Grove, Larry, is pretty good. You know, that's very consistent. Start getting scores in the 160s and 170s, and you're going to win a lot of matches. So this is it right here. Newman Grove needs to win 1 more, and they're going to be Class D Boys State Championship. Having both their teams, boys and girls teams, in the state finals this year.
Note and Brodetsky explaining to Joe Ritzdorf, let's move outside just a little bit more, maybe make a 2-2, 2-1 kind of adjustment to the right.
Actually, he's more in the center now.
He did move inside, didn't he? Trying to maybe play a little more direct, and that goes through the nose.
Well, you have a tendency to not panic, but you just want to, have a tendency to get closer to the head pin. A little overcompensation there, leaving the tough 4, 7, and 10 split.
So that's the championship match of Class D on the boys' side, our first boys' championship of the day. The Howells Bobcats and the Newman Grove Blue Jays. Newman Grove on top of Howells 2 games to 1 after taking the first 2, and a nice run made there by Joe Ritzdorf.
Just about slid it over. We'll see if Newman Grove steps on the gas here, or if they kind of go into a play safe type of a mode. Big spare there. That's a toughie. You need to get the ball actually either straight on the head pin or just to the right to carry the 1, 2, and the 9.
And here's Aaron Brodetsky.
Both teams even at 9 apiece through the first frame. Breaks up a split there. Good break, leaving the 3.
And back on the right-hand lane is Tanner Kruger one more time.
Watch this. Hard and straight. Speed, speed, speed. Long arm swing. There's a strike.
Leading average for the Blue Jays, averaging 165 on the year.
Howells needs to make something good happen here. He needs a spare. Easy 3-pin. Should be playing right on the strike line. Very good.
And we have another sub now for Newman Grove. Now stepping on the right-hand lane is Jake Kaufman. Jake's brother Josh was a former state champion back in 2005. And Jake right at it, doubles up. Boy, way to step into the lineup. And here's Adam Brodetsky. Well, you'll like this. You know, Adam listens to music before he bowls to get himself fired up. Apparently works. He listens to AC/DC, Kansas, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi. He's an old-timer.
That's right. He must have been his dad's. They're probably records.
That's right.
A little fast there for Newman Grove's Jared Rasmussen. Just got a little fast on the approach and lost the ball to the right. 3-pin count on a double.
And now a substitution for the Howells Bobcats. This is Mitch Tomka, the sophomore.
Same thing there, Larry. Quick approach, loses the ball to the right.
They call Mitch red. I'm not sure why.
Well, it might be those red locks of hair he's got up there. Let's see how Jared handles the spare and close match. Spare conversion here by Howells, and that's going to bring the match right back to even. Actually give Howells a slight lead. First lead they've had all day, if he converts.
Just a little wide. So through 4 frames, Newman Grove still on top by 7, 60-53. Keith Backus now up to bowl. Keith very direct, right at him.
Right down the middle. Low maintenance game, but too much of the head pin there leaves the big 4. So now you have Newman Grove in a situation where they're going to be behind here with this open frame, most likely. And need to get those 2 pins of count. No sense trying to pick up the big 4, as it's just virtually impossible to pick up. Right down the middle for Joe Ritzdorf for Howells, leaving the 5 only.
And he gets 2. So a mark here by Ritzdorf would give the Howells Bobcats their first lead of the match.
Should go right down the center of the lane. We like the way Coach Brodetsky is handling the kids. Helping them coach where to play. That's going to have to lay off and just pulled it a touch.
So down by 6 is Howells. And now they'll switch lanes, and Aaron Brodetsky of the Bobcats is up on the right lane as we head to the 6th frame. Down by 6, right at him, and gets the carry.
Now they're in the lead, Larry.
It's the mixer right off the wall. Let's see if Tanner Kruger can answer.
Ooh, off the wall. Breaks up the 5-7 split. And here's a chance for Howells to jump on Newman Grove right now with a double. See if Adam Brodetsky can help his brother out and get that double.
Got the reaction, but left a 5-pin. Overreacted a bit. Right down that left gutter. Kind of untraditional way to pick it up, but it works for him.
Well, it's like Jim Furyk's golf swing.
That's right.
He's making 7, 8, 9 figures with a golf swing that nobody wants, but it makes it work for him. Big spare here for Howells. Well done.
So they hang right in there.
Jake Kaufman taking a page out of Tanner Kruger's book, trying to go hard and straight, but pulls it, leaving a difficult combination spare, the 1, 3, 6, and 9. Chance for Howells to get right, gain a little more momentum, and on that spare is going to lose a few pins at count. See how hard this one goes. A lot of speed. Takes a few miles per hour off. Might have tried to aim it just a little too much, Larry.
So big opportunity here for Mitch Tomka of Howells. Put his team up by more than 10.
Carries it off the wall. No.
Nope.
14-pin lead for Newman Grove now. Or excuse me, for Howells, that is. Through 8 frames, game number 3.
Jared Rasmussen. Now on the right-hand lane, here's Ritzdorf again, the junior. Tugged it a little bit. Yep.
After coming up light on those first frames there, Larry, he's obviously made just a little too big of an adjustment. Needs to just go back and just try to throw it right at the 3-pin. If you're a right-handed bowler, throw it right at the 3-pin. Let that ball settle nicely into the pocket. Just trying to steer it a little too much. Newman Grove had a chance to get right back into the match there. Only 3 marks in that third game. 5 open frames for Newman Grove.
Still a tight third game. Howells clinging to a 6-pin advantage right now through 8 and up in the 9th.
Joe taking a little more time.
Big spare conversion. Can he get it
to
back? Nope. Doesn't quite react enough. So an open in the 9th and a big shot here now for Newman Grove. They can take the lead with a mark. Here's Keith Backus.
Oh, tough break.
Pocket 5-10.
All that conditioner in the center part of the lane, that ball never grabbed hold of the lane, never went into a finish where the ball was rolling at the pins. It was sliding all the way through. Ball hits the pocket, deflects, doesn't carry the 5, and it's a terrible break.
And a big shot by Brodetsky in the 10th. You saw the fist pump.
That's going to wrap it up for Howells. It's going to give them the victory here in. Ooh, good try. Going to give them the. That's going to.
It's going to force Tanner Kruger to double based on what happens here. A strike here does shut him out. Strike here by Brodetsky. So Tanner Kruger will step up with a chance for Newman Grove. He must strike here.
Yep. Hard and straight right at him. Oh,
boy,
tough
what a
break.
shot.
Put it where it had to go, Larry. It was a good shot.
So the Bobcats will come back and take game number 2. Or 3, I'm sorry, their first game of the match. To make it 2-1.
Best of 5, so everything resets and you start fresh for game number 4. We've seen teams down 2-0 in state finals before come back and win the remaining 3 to win the state championship. So Howells, they need to shake it off. Everybody that had maybe some errant shots in this game number 3 can just relax and start over.
And there's Josh London seeing his first action of the day. Josh London converts the spare, and now we'll have one more shot. Possible 129 with a strike, and Howells already in the books at 135. So the Bobcats have taken game number 3.
Another substitute in for Newman Grove. That was Josh London. He was in earlier. Got quite the roster. All right.
So
Let's go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
135, 127 in game number 3, so it makes it 2-1. Newman Grove still leads as we head to game number 4, but the Bobcats now back in it. Coaches regroup and will get their teams going here for game number 4. High school bowling across the state continues to grow.
When you look at these smaller communities like Howells bowls out of Dodge, Nebraska. Bernie and Sandy Eichmeyer from Hilltop Lanes, just great group, husband-wife, family proprietor team, beautiful bowling center. Just they do a great job. Do believe they have 3 high school teams bowling out of that small little 8-lane center. I do believe they have Howells. Obviously, they do. They have Dodge, and then I think they have Clarkson also that bowls out of that bowling center. So they're very, very busy. And Newman Grove, one of the head coach of the girls team, but assistant coach of the boys team, Tim Kruger, a 6-lane bowling center. So it's just a great tribute to how this sport is such a great fit for high schools. It's an inexpensive sport. It's not an expensive sport with a lot of travel costs like football or basketball. We're using large rosters of teams. Basically, what we're looking for the parents and other participants of high school bowling in the state to just go to their athletic directors and try to get them to look at the addition of bowling as a varsity accredited sport in the NSAA.
Well, more than 1,500 student athletes were bowling this year for their schools around the state of Nebraska and the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation.
I think with the exception of the big sports, I think bowling is now one of the largest. There's more boys and girls competing in high school bowling than in baseball across the state. It's just, and the great fit is that the majority of these student athletes are not participating in other sports. Now you get into smaller schools like Howells and Dodge and Newman Grove, you're going to have a lot of crossovers where boys and girls are competing in other sports like volleyball and different seasons. But some of the larger schools, get into the Omaha, Lincoln metro areas, Grand Island, Hastings, I do believe the percentage is over 80%, Larry, are not competing in other sports. So it gives more student athletes an opportunity to get involved in high school activities.
And chatting with one athletic director who stopped by the championships yesterday, he walked in and saw a packed house, 32 lanes going, kids screaming and yelling and high-fiving, parents involved, and said he had no idea what a terrific sport this was for the kids. And he said, I guess I had to see it for myself before I really believed what a great environment this is for high school students and high school athletes.
Yeah, it's an education process, and we touched on it in the girls' match in the prior telecast that it's just an education process for school boards and administrators to understand that this is just such a great fit. Low cost, no field maintenance. You don't have to worry about mowing the football field or sweeping the gym floor for basketball or baseball, things like that. The bowling proprietors take care of the field maintenance, and Well, it's basically just getting a coach and getting a team formed at your school. A lot of open frames here. I think these two teams are realizing that we're getting close here to deciding this championship, and you're going to be seeing now Adam Brodecki going at a very tough 1-2-8-9 spare. You're going to want to see him virtually put the ball in the pocket area like he would on a full rack of pins, just like that. Very good, well covered. You got to hit that head pin square to cover that. That's our first spare of the match, of this game, I should say, Larry.
Howells with a slight 2-pin lead through 2 frames, virtually even, and that open there will give a bigger advantage to the Bobcats.
I think both of these teams are used to bowling on conditions with a little less conditioner, on lane conditions that have less oil, less conditioner, and you're seeing a lot of these balls skid by a lot of these spares. Good substitute there.
That's E.J. Brodecki.
You bet.
E.J. into the lineup. E.J. the other son of Ann Brodecki, the head coach. In fact, E.J. named after his father, Ernie, who, as we told you just a bit ago, died of a heart attack about 6 years ago now, at the age of 43. All 3 of her sons now bowling, Aaron, Adam, and E.J. E.J. just seeing his first action of the match. Here's Joe Ritzdorf on the right lane.
A couple of single pin spares here. We'll see both these boys. We'll certainly see Jared Rasmussen go straight at this 4-pin. Cross lane, right at it, hits it right in the face. Great job.
And the first mark of this 4th game for Newman Grove.
All right. Howells needs this spare. Joe needs to pick up this 5-pin. Should play just about like he would for a normal strike shot. Very good. All right. I think they're beginning to realize here that they got to quit giving away pins, keep their teams in the match. Howells with a pretty good lead though right now.
Opened it up to 13 pins with a spare working, and it's going to be more after that count on the spare. That's 3 pins on a spare, and that'll drive the count down, and now a 20-pin advantage. And we're going to have a substitution for Newman Grove. This will be their first substitution here in game number 4. You're allowed 2. And so now John Lorenzen, the sophomore, give it a shot on the spare. And a good conversion by John Lorenzen. Now up on the left-hand lane is Aaron Brodecki. His team on top by 20 through 5 frames. A little light. That's a tough spare to leave.
There's a lot of pins in the middle there. The ball's going to have to hit square on the head pin to carry the 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9 out of the rack there on this spare. Chance for Newman Grove to get back in it.
Tanner Kruger right in the pocket, but leaves the 5.
Easy spare.
Probably leaves more than his share of 5 pins as the ball hits the pocket going away, as opposed to driving toward the 5-pin.
The trade-off on that is accuracy, though, Larry. Howells kind of letting Newman Grove back in here. A spare here. A spare here in the 6 by Newman Grove will put them within 10 pins of the lead. All they need to do is win 1 more for the state championship. Good cover there by Tanner. All right. Howells, to stave off Newman Grove, needs a mark, preferably a strike. You're going to see Adam Brodecki a little slower speed. Ball hangs on his hand a little bit, but carries. It's like getting that country club bounce in golf,
right.
You know, and it rolls out of the bunker onto the green. Saw his hand just hanging the ball there a little bit, but chance for Newman Grove to answer back. A lot of speed by Jonathan Dolman, but leaves the 6-pin.
Well, that will pull Newman Grove back to within 5 pins through 6 frames. Howells still leading at 81-76. Howells with a strike working, and here's E.J. Brodecki. And E.J. leaves the double wood, the 3-9.
Newman Grove keeping the match close here. This is an important spare for EJ. The 3 and the 9. The ball needs to hit 3 pin in the front, square in the front, to carry the 9. So as you see, he just got off to the left side of it.
Well, that might tighten things up a bit now. 109 for Howells through 8 frames. And now up in the 8th frame is Jared Rasmussen. Rasmussen, looks like he lost it off his hand a little bit. Just kind of fell off his hand.
You heard that loud thunk at the foul line when he let the ball go. The ball actually hit behind the foul line. That's not a foul. Only way you can foul in bowling is if your foot or part of your body goes across the foul line or over it. The ball cannot cause a foul. So just needs to cover the spare here. Loss of pin count. 5 on the spare isn't good. 8-pin count there for Joe Ritzdorf for Howells. So it's still anyone's match, Larry. Anyone's game, I should say.
Important for Rasmussen to convert here to keep it close. And just misses, so that will give them 98 through 8 frames, and they now trail by 11 as we head to the 9th frame.
The spare here by Howells, Larry, is going to pretty much sew things up.
And good coverage by Howells.
Okay, all they're going to have to do is fill 9 pins, I do believe, to wrap things up. A double is the only chance Newman Groves has here to win the match. He needs to strike on this ball, and that's not going to do it. Best they can score is 118. Or excuse me, we're still in the 9th frame here, Larry. I'm sorry about that. Getting a little ahead of myself with the Baker bowling format here.
But that is a big shot by Howells.
That there ought to make it pretty much academic.
He needs 10 to shut him out, I believe. They can still, with the spare there, they can still shoot 148. And Howells with 9 pins shoots 148, so he needs a mark here. Does Brodetsky, Adam Brodetsky right here. A mark will shut out Newman Grove.
Hold it. Oh, just about made it a difficult spare.
And now to stay alive, Tanner Kruger does have to double. He needs this or they lose game number 4. And he trips the 3-pin forward. Wow, mixed him up a little bit, and that 3-pin bounded forward. Maybe a little payback after he stuck that solid 10 in the 10th frame last game when he needed a double to stay alive. 3 here, a spare gives them the game, and they got it.
That's a huge spare. That's the biggest shot so far we've seen today. 149 for Howells. That wraps up game number 4.
It says here on the sheet, Aaron Brodecki is good under pressure. The more we need it, the better he is what it says, and he certainly proved it right there.
Josh London's going to bowl the fill frames now for Newman Grove since they've already surrendered match number 4, game number 4 to Howells. We're tied 2-2. Good idea by Coach Kaufman and Coach Kruger for Newman Grove to let somebody else have a shot here, just in case they need to make a sub in the final game, game 5.
Well, you take a look at the past state champions in boys Class D. Howells has never won a state title. Newman Grove did capture a title back in 2005. In fact, that was when Josh Kaufman, the brother of Jake Kaufman, was bowling. But with that win by Howells, we are all even at 2, and now we head to a deciding game number 5. 149-137. Howells wins game 4 to even it at 2 games apiece. It's a best of 5. The crowd beginning to get into it. They know it's a deciding 5th game, and you can see the smiles on the faces, and they're ready to go.
I think you might have to say that the momentum, it might be a little more in the Howells corner by winning the last 2. Might have Newman Grove back on their heels a little bit. The Newman Grove boys are kind of sitting down, and chance to jump right on him out of the gate, and a good shot there. Joe Ritzdorf gets the ball in the pocket, just a touch high, leaving the 4-pin.
They're going to mix up the lineup a little bit as Newman Grove. Coach Kruger and Coach Kaufman talked it over for quite a while, and they will start off with John Lorenzen. So Lorenzen in the game for Newman Grove. Lorenzen leaves the 4-pin. Good shot there.
Well, now you're going to see spares play the most important part of the state championship. It's like making free throws down the line in basketball. It needs to cover the spares. That's going to have to hook, Larry.
Again, we talked about it before, but right at those spares, a lot of conditioner over the middle of the lanes, and you're just not going to see a lot of hooking at left side spares.
Got to go straight at him. He's going to have to do the same thing here. He does go straight at it and covers the 4. Advantage Newman Grove so far in game number 5.
So Lorenzen covers the spare and gives his team a 10-pin lead. Here's a look at Aaron Brodetsky. And now Tanner Kruger.
Hard and straight with accuracy. Just sliding by, leaving a 2-4-5. Boy, you don't want to start shooting a lot of those combinations with the state championship on the line. You'd much rather mow down these single pins. Needs to go straight at it. That's a good cover.
Very nice job by the sophomore. Kruger now to cover, and he does as well.
Oh, he fouled, Larry. Went over the foul line.
So it open for Newman Grove, and we're back to essentially even.
Fast approach, a lot of speed. If you get a little out of control, you go over that foul line. All you have to do is touch the foul line. You don't have to go over it, and it's a foul. Probably nothing more than maybe a quarter of an inch costing that spare. Great shot.
And a nice shot by Adam Brodetsky. And I don't know if you saw in the background, but back there for Howells it looked like E.J. Brodetsky, his brother, kind of given a butterfly sign. That's his nickname, is Butterfly. Right, a good shot there and leaves a solid 10.
That's the most masculine nickname you'd want in high school.
Well, that's what you
he's
get.
Like Muhammad Ali or something like that.
That's what you get when it's your big brother giving it to you.
Yeah,
Here's his big brother, E.J. Brodetsky.
Well, he's on a strike, so.
Yep, and Ann's right there talking to him. It's all right, you're on a strike, nothing hurt.
Mom is promptly threatening grounding him if he does it again. Good cover by Newman Grove to get him back in. And you saw EJ earlier in his earlier attempts more in the center part of the lane. He moved to the outside part of the lane there with a little more speed. Just needs to go down the middle and keep the ball right around the head pin and hope something good happens. Ball hangs on his hand there a little bit. Just about.
Good count though, but that will give Howells 57 through 4 frames. And now up in the 4th for Newman Grove is Josh London.
Strike here gets him within 10. Doesn't carry.
London leaves the 10-pin. Ritzdorf. See how tight the match is there. Within 5 pins, the state championship on the line.
Baby split, gets lucky, kicks out the 10. This is right within 10 pins, Larry, of each other. This is going to come down to the final frame, it's beginning to look like. Needs this spare. Going cross lane, great job. That's how to do it.
And good cover by Josh London, the sophomore, stepping in this 5th and final game. If you're just joining us, we are all even at 2 games apiece in this Baker final. It's a best-of-5 Baker format. And a nice cover there on the spare as well. So single pins converted for both teams.
Seeing a better job at spare shooting now. Only a couple of open frames so far for each team. Big shot here for Newman Grove's Josh Lorenzen.
It is a tight one. 60-57 through 4. A 3-pin advantage now for Newman Grove. And they need to convert this spare to stay on top.
Teams will switch lanes. They'll flip-flop as soon as John takes care of his business on lane 28. The 1-3-6. Typically, you'd want to get the ball in the pocket area and just be in the 1-3 area. The ball taking the 3 and the 6 out, but
head pin goes off the wall and comes back and converts the spare.
All looks the same on the old TV screen. All right.
They don't ask how, they just ask how many, right?
You bet. For Howells, Aaron Brodecki, who struck last time up, leaves the 10.
And a good ball by Brodetsky.
Corner pin spare, needs to go cross lane. I think this is your money bowler for Newman Grove right here. Tanner a little fast there, misses the head pin, but easily convertible spare, the 1 and the 2. Let's see how Aaron goes cross lane for Howells at this 10 pin. Picked it up last time. Well done.
Oh, nice coverage. Nice job by the sophomore. Under pressure, has to have it, steps up and converts.
We are tied, Larry. Dead even going into frame 7.
Ooh, another foul.
Fouled again.
Another foul. Boy, big open for
No longer
Newman
are we
Grove.
tied.
So advantage now Howells, and up on the right-hand lane is Adam Brodetsky. Brodetsky struck his last time up.
Great shot.
Boy, right in the pocket.
Just a touch out.
Reminding him not hooking across the middle. Go right at it. Good coaching going on there.
Well, on the open frame, the 5 count doesn't hurt him in count. But it is time for Jonathan Doman, who struggled a little bit so far today, to get a spare and pick his team up. Cross lane now.
Is that going to get there? Nope.
That just virtually evens things up right there, Larry. We may have to keep an eye on a tie. New tiebreaker rule, sudden death they call it now for high school bowling. If we get close to that, we'll discuss it.
And that gives it right back. Advantage now again, back to Howells.
11-pin lead for Howells for the state championship.
So we head to the 8th frame, 104 to 93. And here's E.J. Brodetsky. Use it again for a little bit. Spares will be crucial, as you said, Steve, down this stretch, and they get more increasingly difficult as the pressure increases as well.
It's like everybody's just having a little trouble getting the ball off their hands, trying to steer it a little too much.
Well, you start to squeeze it a little bit, that'll happen.
It's going to come down to who can stay clean here, Larry, who can not have any open frames the last 3 frames of this state championship game. It's going to have to
move. Off the wall, can't get the 2-pin forward.
113 in the 8th. A spare here will put Newman Grove in front. And
a nice cover.
Spare right there actually will put them in front with count.
Right. But if they strike, it's all even.
All right, now it's time for Howells. Joe Ritzdorf here, who's been around the pocket most today to come through and leaves himself the 3-pin. That's makeable. Now we'll see the spare shooting ability for Newman Grove. A strike here is going to give them the lead going into the 10th frame. It's going to make it real close.
7-pin counts. They're down by 3 going into the 9th. They were still in the 9th there. So 113, 110. Howells on top through 8. Both bowlers bowling in the 9th.
Good cover on the spare for Howells.
So the Blue Jays need this spare by Lorenzen. Gotta have it. They got it.
Yeah, it's coming down right to the end here.
So we head to the 10th frame. Howells on top by 3. 113, 110. Both teams on marks in the 9th. Big shot by Brodetsky. Leaves the 10-pin.
He's picked up a couple of corner pins already, though, Larry, so he's familiar going cross lane at the spare.
So now let's see what Tanner Kruger can do. The only way he guarantees a win is if he throws 2 in a row. Oh, and he doesn't get the 7-pin to go. There's 7 standing, so as you've said, it's coming down to the marks.
A lot of pin action, leaving lots of corners, though.
Brodetsky controls his own destiny, picks this up and strikes. His team wins the state championship.
That's going to have to hook.
He got it. Wow. Right on the edge, and he picks it up. Brodetsky with a big ball in the 10th frame of the state championship match. Now he needs count.
8 pins to win. Depending upon if this
is the
spare
mark
is converted.
And he got it. So 8 pins, and Howells comes from 2 down to win a state championship. Here he is, the sophomore, Aaron Brodetsky.
Big deep breath, taking a little extra time.
8 pins, and they're state champs.
Right down the middle, looks good. That's
Got it!
That's
State
a winner.
championship for the Howells Bobcats.
Yeah, I just did the math there and realized that 151, the best they can shoot is 149. Well, Coach Kruger and Coach Kaufman is going to have a pair of runner-up finishes here for Newman Grove, but it's great. Great for Class D action to bring home a couple of runner-up finals. That's
the final 151-147. The Howells Bobcats out of the chute, down 2-0, and they come back and win games 3, 4, and 5. And the Bobcats are the boys' Class D state champs. When we come back, we'll have the medal presentations. Howells over Newman Grove in the Class D championship.
The 2008 High School Bowling Championships is provided in part by the Alan and Marcia Baer Foundation, the Lincoln Bowling Association, and the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation, promoting bowling across the state of Nebraska. The Nebraska Soybean Board, encouraging the use of renewable biodiesel fuels for a healthier environment. For information, nebraskasoybeans.org. And by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. The Blues are good for you.
This Tuesday, NET2 will carry live coverage from the Nebraska Legislature on the future of the Nebraska State Fair. The Agriculture Committee will hear testimony beginning Tuesday afternoon at 1:30 Central Time on NET2. Plus, watch live gavel-to-gavel coverage every day only on NET2.
Back at Sun Valley Lanes, the boys' Class D championship is now in the books. The Howells Bobcats come from behind and win, as you see there, games 3, 4, and 5, and take the Class D state championship. For the medals presentation, let's go to Les Amory.
The awards presentation, starting with the runner-up team, Newman Grove Blue Jays. Coach, Jim Kaufman, Keith Backus. Tanner Kruger. Jonathan Doman. Jared Rasmussen. Jake Kaufman. John Lorenzen. Josh London. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2008 runner-up, Newman Grove Blue Jays. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your 2008 Class D Boys Champions, Howells Bobcats. Coached by Ann Brodetsky. Team members, Joe Ritzdorf, Aaron Brodetsky, Adam Brodetsky, E.J. Brodetsky, Nick Wieben. Mitch Tomka. The coach, Brodesky, your championship trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, 2008 Class D Boys champion, Howells Bobcats.
Well, congratulations to the Howells Bobcats, the champs in boys Class D. When we come back, the Class B championship on the boys' side is just ahead. The Huskies and the Minutemen are up next.
Hello, I'm Rod Bates, General Manager of NET. If you rely on an outdoor antenna or rabbit ears to receive your favorite television channels, you'll soon have to make some choices. You'll have three options. First, you can buy a new digital television set. Second, you can subscribe to a pay TV service like cable or satellite. And the third option is you can buy a converter box that will let you keep using your current television set. Now, the federal government started offering DTV converter coupons worth $40 each to help you afford the boxes you'll need. You can apply by calling 888-388-2009, or you can log onto the internet and go to dtv2009.gov. If you have any questions at all, you can call us here at NET for help. Our number is 1-800-634-6788. We just want to make sure you continue to receive our programs.
The Nebraska High School Bowling Federation Class B Boys State Championship about to begin. The Aurora Huskies taking on the Lexington Minutemen. And for more, let's go to our public address announcer, Craig Carter.
Welcome to the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation Boys Class B State Championship, featuring the Lexington Minutemen and the Aurora Huskies. Now let's meet the Lexington Minutemen. Nick Walker, Ryan Reiner, Tyler Kricksky, James Liebhardt, Sam Fred, Zach Stopper, Colton Schwartz, and head coach Dave Freed. And now for the Huskies from Aurora, Troy Holtgren, Preston Detter, Tanner Morton, Sean Brickness, Eric Suazo, Tyrell Shepard, and head coach Alan Brickness and assistant coach Adam Webb.
So those are the introductions for the Class B Boys State High School Championship. When we come back, we'll have the action. It's Lexington and Aurora coming up next on NET.
Brought to you in part by the Ellen and Marcia Bear Foundation and by the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation, encouraging high schools to sanction the sport of bowling across Nebraska.
Programming provided by Nebraska Public Power District.
My job as an engineer for the Nebraska Public Power District is rewarding. My education and technical skills are used every day to help generate electricity for Nebraska. And I feel good because I believe that what I do maintains the state's quality of life. NPPD is where I want to be.
Nebraska Public Power District. Always there when you need us. Together with your local public power utility.
Rising from acres of Midwestern farm fields, a revolution is coming. A new era of energy independence from foreign oil. It's called soy biodiesel. Made with soybean oil, this fuel is a sustainable, renewable resource. America, it's time for an oil change. Soy biodiesel, grown in the Midwest.
And welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska's Sun Valley Lanes for the boys Class B State High School Bowling Federation Championships between the Lexington Minutemen and the Aurora Huskies. Here's a look at the lineup for the Aurora Huskies, led by Alan Bicknace, Troy Hultgren, Preston Detter, Tanner Morton, Sean Bicknace, Eric Suazo, and Terrell Schoffert. Lexington Minutemen head coach Dave Fred, Nick Walker, Ryan Reiners, Tyler Kritzky, James Liebhart, Sam Fred, Zach Stauffer, and Colton Schwartz will be the bowlers for the Minutemen. Lexington, no stranger here to the state finals, state championships. They, in fact, won it back in 2004, one of the perennial power bowling teams in the state of Nebraska. Aurora, on the other hand, in the same conference as the Lexington Minutemen, so these two teams are very familiar with each other. Aurora not familiar with state tournament atmosphere. In fact, not only is this the Huskies' first trip to the state finals, this year was the first time they'd ever made it to state as a team. So to get to the Baker finals, the Baker format finals in their first year at state is an amazing accomplishment. Usually it takes a while to adjust. You go down to state, you learn a little bit about it, get familiar with it. Of course, in those Baker finals, anything can happen.
I'm sure it's the first time in this type of a setting for them and possibly some of the kids for Lexington.
Boy, what a shot. A nice ball by James Liebhart. He led him yesterday all through qualifying. In fact, Liebhart, the high finisher in the singles competition among these Lexington Minutemen. Liebhart shot .559 yesterday, and that was after starting out with a 147. He went 2-0, 2-12 his last two games on a much more difficult shot than we're facing today. And here's the shot by Tanner Morton, and Tanner Morton opens in the first frame for the Huskies.
Here's another one that gets a handful. Colton Shores.
Shores, a 4-year starter. He's been in the arena finals before. Well, that's set right in there, didn't it?
Yep. A lot of condition here in the center portion of the lane. Caused that ball to fall back. You hear him once in a while yell set, and what that means, they want the ball to hold pocket right where it's at. Time for Aurora to get a little momentum here. And
here's Sean Bicknace, coach's son, just a little wide right. Left the 1-2.
I've seen some, in the earlier match, seen some struggles with the cross lane spares at the 4-pin. We'll see how Liebhart does. Right across lane as you're supposed to do it. Another loud crowd here for our Class B state championship match.
Now Bicknace tries to answer. And a good cover by Sean Bicknace, the junior from Aurora. Here's Tyler Kritzky. Very smooth and deliberate, right up the middle, and gets the 10 out. And the Minutemen take the early advantage. For Aurora, Terrell Schoffert. Schoffert, just a freshman. It's a young Aurora Husky squad, just one senior. That's Eric Suazo. But Holtgren, Detter, Morton, Bignace, all juniors, and then this freshman, Schoffer. Here's Zach Stauffer. He's a senior. He also has finals experience, a 4-year starter. Stauffer, along with Colton Schwartz, both members of that 2006 Lexington team that came down here, and they were runners-up back in 2006. Plattsmouth won it all that year. Plattsmouth won it back-to-back years in 2005 and 2006. He's one of the better high school bowlers we've ever seen in the state of Nebraska.
You bet the Snell family turned out some great bowlers.
And good cover.
That spare with a different bowling ball, harder surface ball, cut down on the hook, a little more accurate. First look at Preston Detter.
Yeah, it goes a little high.
Just kind of feeling their way through here. Larry made the comment earlier that the competition yesterday was done at on a different lane conditioning pattern, using a PBA pattern, as they're called, as the PBA Tour would use. And those patterns are a little more demanding, requires a little better shot making, and that pattern had a tendency yesterday to hook more. Less oil in the lanes, less conditioner means more hook, and now today's pattern has a little more conditioner in the center. So a lot of these boys are just trying to make sure that they don't chunk one off their ankle into the gutter, or have one slide off their hand into the gutter. They don't want to do that. This lefty here just has a tremendous fundamental game.
Sam Fred, the son of head coach Dave Fred.
Sam's getting the crowd fired up. We'll make a couple more comments on Sam's very, very great release and fundamental game when Sam's up in the 10th frame.
Trying to stay close. Here's Troy Holtgren. And Holtgren leaves a 4-pin. Holtgren averages 181, averaged 181 throughout the year. High game of 289 and a series of 690. As I said, this Aurora Husky squad has come a long way in the last couple of years. Their first ever trip to state, and this, of course, their first trip to finals this year. And a good cover by Holtgren.
Staying in the game. Early open frame there, but they've stayed clean. The rest of the opening first half of the first game. They switch sides now.
And right now a 17-pin advantage for Lexington. 79 in the fourth to 62 for the Aurora Huskies. And up on the left lane now for Lexington is James Liebhart. As we mentioned, he led him yesterday in qualifying. Comes up a little light, but trips the 310. I'm sorry, the 2-7.
Lucky break off the wall there. Lively pin action here at Sun Valley Lanes in Lincoln. John Lucito's staff, maintenance staff, does a great job. Everything extremely clean. Clean lanes, clean machines. Yields high scores, lots of pin action.
Clean living, they do it all around here.
Yes. You just saw, I think, a little case of over-adrenaline there from Tanner Morton. Pretty much threw that ball right through the back end of the machine, never gave it a chance to hook.
Colton Schwartz again.
Chance on a double.
And Schwartz gets the trip 10. 7-10 and out.
Sends the head pin off the left kickback, takes out the 7, and still has enough power to come back all the way across the pin deck. And that scout takes out that 10 pin, so quick lead by Lexington.
And this is one of those rare matches and battles where just picking up all your spares may not be enough, because Lexington's got a tried to take it off the wall, but Lexington has thrown a lot of strikes.
Yep.
All right around the head pin too. They've had 3 single pin counts and 4 strikes. And that's their first shot that was not either a single pin or a strike.
Well, double wood 2 in the 8. See how the spare making abilities are.
And here's Sean Bignace.
Straight and direct. Leaves the 6. Lexington can convert their spares, or excuse me, Aurora can convert their spares and just kind of not let things get completely out of hand. It's a 5-game best of 5 format, and there's an opening there with Tyler Kritsky missing the 2 and the 8. Time for Aurora to get this spare and get a strike in the 8th frame, and they'll be closing the gap here by at least half. Cross lane at the 6.
And a good cover one more time by Sean Bignace.
All right, Terrell Shafford.
Just a freshman. A couple of freshmen here. Tyler Kritsky for Lexington, a freshman, as well as Shafford. That comes in a little light.
Well, Terrell is playing so far in the center portion of the lane, Larry, that by the time the ball travels through that center portion of the lane, it's going through that skid area where all that conditioner is. The ball doesn't have a chance to recover. He needs to be a little closer to the track area of the lane, somewhere around the 2nd arrow. He's all the way inside the 3rd, so he's going to have a tough time getting that ball to hook and react back. Does cover the spare, though. Good job. Watch this, folks.
Now up on the left lane. Zach Stauffer.
There's another one that has a great arm swing, stays behind the shot, good hand position at the point of release, under control. Oh, another great shot, just leaves the 7.
Preston Detter. Be a broadcasting major. Maybe we can get him to do this someday. I'm looking for a new partner.
You and I keep bumbling names up. We might both get replaced, and he's big enough to push us out of the booth. Spares are important here. He switches to a hard surface ball to go cross lane at the spare and go straight at it. Well done.
And a good cover by Stauffer. So Lexington, after their first open in the 8th frame, gets back on a mark in the 9th. They're on top by 32 pins through 8 frames.
Well, it's not going to get over.
After that, make it 40 pins now.
Well, it looks like Lexington's pretty well clinched game number 1 here. They have clinched it, as a matter of fact. Best Aurora can shoot is 162. What a great shot there by Sam Fred.
Good hand in the ball can create a lot of room for you.
We've seen some good bowling already today, and that young man there gets a handful. He really rotates his hand around the ball to create just maximum revolutions, and they're going to go ahead and let Nick Walker come in and finish the 10th frame for Lexington as they have game number 1 wrapped up here in Class B boys. Good shot. It's going to come across. Almost gets the scout across the deck, but Troy Holgren's going to cover the spare for Aurora. Good job. Both teams using a substitute or 2 in the 10th frame just to keep everybody fresh in case they're called upon here during the match.
And Nick Walker now on the 10. Just slid by. Still a nice opening game. 194 for Lexington. Lexington, and a good shot there.
Good way to finish. Keep their spirits up for game number 2.
So the final in game number 1, 194-152. Lexington over Aurora in the first game of this best of 5 Baker final in Class B. As we mentioned before, high school bowling goes with the Baker format in the finals, which in classes A and B means each bowler bowls 2 frames. And generally you put your best bowler in the position to bowl last because he'll be bowling the 10th frame and finishing it up.
It's not bad strategy too to have a strong leadoff bowler too. If somebody's going to fire your team up is to have someone come out of the gate hot. So Baker bowling really, Larry. I mean, obviously the anchor bowler bowling frames 5 and 10 is very important, but really it is a total team effort. You need to have all 5 of your players picking spares up and clicking, and it's not comparable to a traditional bowling format where you might have one bowler not bowling your average, but if you've got another guy it's 40, 50, 60 pins over his or her average, that can make up for that one bowler that's been down.
Well, to your point, we've seen James Liebhart lead off the first 2 games for Lexington with strikes and really get his team going right away. And now Colton Schwartz. Colton would like to bowl in college and plans on attending Wichita State next year.
Great bowling school. Great Gordon Vatican, who's one of the grandfathers. Well, Gordon's not that old. He'll probably get mad at me for calling him a grandfather. But
I think he is kind of a grandfather.
Gordon really was one of the early college or universities to really get a true competitive bowling program going.
Right.
He would rank right up there with, of course, Nebraska, who's got a powerhouse program. Cross lane with the eyeball at the spare.
And a good cover by Schwartz.
Well, Aurora needs something good to happen here, and it could start with a strike right here. Right up the track area of the lane, and just
can't get that 10 out.
Yeah, just a little quick on the speed. Ball did hold the pocket, but wasn't driving at the finish. Ball wasn't carrying through, kicking out the 5 and the 9. It deflected when it hit the pocket and caused that 6 pin to go into the gutter and not come out of the flat gutter and take out the 10. Big chance for Lexington here to put the pressure on, and they do.
And the nice shot by the freshman Tyler Kritzky.
Another high school program that is just very, very well supported by the local proprietor in Lexington. Striking spares Brad Larson and his wife Jo. Nice bowling center in Lexington, hotbed of youth bowling, had high school teams for a long time. So, Aurora does have a fairly new high school program. Aurora does have 2 bowling centers in town. The Aurora Bulldogs bowl out of Pinsetter Lanes, and they just need to hang in there, and if they keep their mistakes to a minimum, they can stay in this match. Spare working now.
And here's the freshman Schaffert. Schaffert going to Brooklyn's side.
Got a long, straight arm swing. Just good fundamentals. Stays behind the ball, but just need to find a right spot on the lane to get a good ball reaction to have it set in the pocket. Cross lane at the bucket.
And Stauffer converts, so Lexington stays clean here in game number 2. And they lead in game 2 by 13 pins.
Good cover. All right, folks.
Here's Sam Fred again.
Watch his hand position and where his wrist and release is when he comes out of the bowling ball at the point of release. He's got his actually has his hand so far under the ball. Look at that position there. Fingers are on the opposite side of the ball, and right there comes around the side of that ball for maximum revolutions. That is the traditional power game, you call it in bowling.
Well, he's one of his favorite athletes, Parker Bone III, and he looks an awful lot like him.
He has a very similar bowling game to Parker. He may hook it more than Parker. Ball's got a hook to get back. We have a couple of the boys for Aurora that are in that center part of the lane there where there's so much oil, and they're throwing the ball to the left, or excuse me, to the right. These are the right-handed bowlers, and they are just having trouble getting through that conditioner, getting the ball to come back. So they need to move over at least an arrow, maybe 5 boards, to get into the area of the lane where there's more friction, so it'll hook. We'll see him go cross lane at the 2.
Had a good cover there. And now up on the right-hand lane is Troy Holtgren. Holtgren, a junior.
Here's their anchor bowler. One they go to for a big shot, so we need a strike out of him.
He's right up the boards and a little high. We mentioned earlier these two teams bowl in the same district, so they're very familiar with each other. Lexington, of course, won that district. Lexington qualified for the state tournament via the wild card. They were beaten in districts by Pius 10th. And then came down and knocked off Pius yesterday in the Bakers to make it to the championship game.
I hear the coach is handling that defeat worse than the kids.
That may be true.
All right,
so there's your score through 5, 72 for Aurora after the open in the 5th frame. And they trail by 17 through 5. So it's time for Aurora to get something going down. They're already down 1-0. They don't want to go down 2-0. And they're down 17 in the 5th frame. So Aurora needs to get something going now. And here's James Liebhart. Boy, another great shot by Liebhart. Wow, does he get him going?
Yeah, he does.
Coach says he's the most emotional kid on the team, the clown, and he gets him going. And he's certainly showing that here.
He's doing his job.
In the state finals.
Hard and straight for Aurora.
As a look at Eric Suazo, the first look at the senior from Aurora. Well, these two guys combined for a double last time. Let's see if they do it again. Colton Schwartz. Pretty good shot. And he got the mixer. Lexington has got him on the ropes. In Baker bowling, so important. When you have an opportunity to step on the throat of your opponent, you do it.
Double working now for Lexington, going for a 3-bagger. It's Tyler Kritzky. This is a big shot right here. He's going to have to hook a lot, and he's a very difficult washout combination. Watch where Tyler's playing the lane versus the leadoff bowler. And he just needs to get a little further right into an area where there's a little more friction on the lane, so it'll hook more. Ooh, almost catching, already catches a break, pulling the 7 out, nearly takes the 5. So this is the 1, 2, 4, 6, and 10. You'll see some bowlers try to go in between the gap and try and slide the pins together, or go at the 1, 2, 4 and send them into the 6 and the 10. But Aurora needs this spare, and they need to get a strike working in the 8th to play catch up here. Down by 50 pins to Lexington.
And now Sham Vignace. And he covers up the 5-pin. So now the freshman back up. Terrell Schaffert. 150 in the 8th for Lexington, as you saw. They need to get back in this. They're going to need a strike here. And he got it, moving deeper inside.
Well, that's his comfort zone, and that's fine. Cuts that lead to 29. Strike working in the 8th. If they can use the 9th frame as the foundation and get that double, it's going to make Lexington perform in the 10th frame to win game number 2. Great hand position around the back of the ball.
Here's Stauffer. And he trips the 4-pin forward. You can see he made the adjustment after coming up light on 27. Made the adjustment, came just a little heavy, but trips a 4.
And back to the further outside part of the lane. That'll create more hook.
Big shot.
Not timely.
That'll about do it.
Possible 210 for Lexington as anchor bowler Sam Fred finishes up the 10th frame.
What a great shot there.
You hear throwing the bones. You hear You hear the thump, 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 thump of the ball. That's not necessarily the thumb hole that it's catching. His roll on the ball, Larry, is so high, it's so far up on the axis of the ball that it's actually catching one of the finger grip holes, one of the edges of the finger grip holes. A lot of times you hear a lot of thump, 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 thinking that you're catching your thumb, and it's not a good shot. But he gets so much power and so many revolutions in that ball. The track of the ball is so high. That's what causes that snap hook at the back end, and that's just good leverage.
Now here's a look at Ryan Reiners, the freshman.
Gonna let Ryan finish out the 10th frame, give him some FaceTime on television, and let the freshman have some valuable experience in the lineup. Possible 169 for Aurora, but it's not going to be enough.
And Hultgren goes a little high. And he'll have the 610 to convert. Well, Lexington is going to put another 190 plus on the board. 194 in its first game, 198 if they convert here.
That's very good for Baker Bowling, and making sure all your teammates are having success.
So 197 for Lexington. They go 194, 197 in the first two Baker games.
Cross lane with a harder bowling ball, a little too much skid.
That'll leave them with a 148. So 197 to 148 is the final in game number 2. Lexington now up 2 games to none and 1 game away from taking home the 2008 state championship. They were runners-up back in 2006, so about every 2 years they make it to the title game. They were here in 04 when they won it, 06 they were runners-up, and 08 they're back here again trying to win another state title.
Well, the Huskies from Aurora have a little team meeting over there, and as we've said before, Larry, we've seen teams come back from 02 to win state championships. And so
well, we saw it earlier today.
Coach Bicknace is just telling the troops, yeah, with Howells, they came back after 02 and won in Class D. Coach Bicknace is just telling the boys, listen, let's take it one shot at a time. Just make each spare count. Don't throw any pins away, and maybe Lexington's got a few chinks in the armor that can be exposed here. So taking a little extra time here. The girls' Class B was a fast-paced, wild match. Didn't take 20 minutes. This match, everybody's thinking about it a little more of a pre-shot routine.
Tanner Morton will start things off. A little switch in the lineup by Coach Bicknace and his assistant Adam Webb.
It's good, giving everybody a shot down here at the state tournament.
Let's see if James Liebhart gets things started off for the 3rd straight game. Our strike.
Our statistician has told us that he has struck every shot. And he has. He's perfect. 5 for 5.
Every shot.
He is perfect on the afternoon. He is perfect.
Statistician today, Mike Siegelman, Sun Valley Lanes. He could use a little work on his game, by the way.
He's got that calculator in his head going.
That's right.
Big spare opportunity here for Aurora to not keep it getting out of hand too soon. Up 2 games to nothing, Lexington. They can start going for the throat here.
Here's Colton Schwartz.
Playing the slow hook.
And he gets the carry.
Double.
Once again, you saw the 4-pin slapped out late off the wall. Nice reaction. And here's the freshman for Aurora.
You're right, Larry. He did move inside, and it was a good move.
Back-to-back strikes for Schaffert.
And flush both times.
For a freshman, I like his game.
Oh, he comes out of the ball very well. He's going to grow a little bit too, put on a little more size and strength. Chance for a 3-bagger.
Well, individually, of course, in the qualifying, all the teams that make it to state have individual titles as well in Class B. Stan Benish won the Class B boys title. Derek Dahl of York was second, and Trent Burge of Hastings was third. And of course, Trent Burge bowls for Hastings, and they won it all last year. Hastings made it back to the finals this year, knocked off in the first round by Pius.
All right, well, Aurora now has a double Larry, so they can close the gap here quickly and go into the lead with a 3-bagger right here. Lane 27.
Here's Bicknace again. And Bicknace crosses over and can't get the 10 to fall.
A lot of difference in styles, just a lot of boys that have the traditional hook. Here's one of them right here that will, you'll see him play right in the track area of the lane, and a lot of hook, but you'll see some go straight at him. Right up about the 9th board. Just wiggles the 4, can't get it to carry. Good shot though. You don't typically, Larry, you know, when you're in a league or tournament situation, if you're hitting the pocket, leaving a few 4s, a few 10s, you don't want to make wholesale adjustments to try to carry unless you're in a situation where you need to win and win quick. You need to be happy. You know, it's like hitting the fairway in golf. You know, you can hit it 290 and be really happy, but I'd rather hit it 220 and be in the fairway and find it, you know. Cross lane at the 4.
And Stauffer converts. So following up their first open of the game, and they now trail by about 12. So down by 12 pins through 3. And Aurora enjoying its first lead of the match. Here's Troy Holtgren.
181 average, keeps the ball around the pocket. Good shot. That's his best shot so far. It's one of those breaks in bowling, leaving the solid 10. Watch this, folks. He's going to send this ball all the way out to somewhere around the 3rd or 4th board and bring it all the way back to the pocket. There it is, and it's just a little soft on his speed, but good enough to carry that 6. I think he's a
Husker fan?
Black shirt defense fan, throwing the bones at everybody when he comes back.
Said he'd like to bowl at Nebraska. That's what he wants to do. He's just a junior, so he's got another year to grow into that. Certainly has the game to do it.
Well, Aurora hanging on to a slim 1-pin lead right now, so they need to continue to stay clean, keep their spares in front of them, and not let that get out of hand. They do have, Lexington does have a strike working, so.
Looking for the double here by Liebhart.
See if he can stay
6
perfect.
for 6.
Oh. Good shot, just got it a little wider than he did the last few times. Light hit leaving the 7. Chance for Aurora to capitalize here. And that is a difficult spare.
So some work left for Tanner Morton. Here's another look at Liebhart, his first spare attempt of the championship finals, and he covers it right at the 7-pin. You know, the old days we used to say 3-6-9. You know, move 3-6-9 based on whether it's the 2. Anymore, with conditions, the way they change and the sporting shots, it's just so much more efficient and accurate to go straight at spares.
And the bowling balls. The cover stock of the bowling balls are so aggressive. You get such different reactions now with different bowling balls. Really, one of the first pros to really start going hard and direct at spares was Mark Roth back in the 80s, because Roth hooked it so much.
Well, not a bad guy to emulate.
Nope. Mark made a lot of money.
And now it seems everybody has gone to the direct route.
Terrell has gotten his act together, moving way inside, and One of the unique things about Terrell's game, it's not so much unique as it is good fundamentals, is his release. Stays very, very straight behind the ball, but comes through with a lot of revolutions. Gets that ball to have a strong finish at the end.
He's getting into the match a little bit.
That's going to have to hook to get over there, and you can just see at the bottom of his swing, it just fell off his hand, didn't catch it all the way, so.
And that tightens the match up. In fact, Lexington with a strike here will take a 3-pin lead. So based on count, that will be the lead for Lexington.
And right back.
Might have given it back. So they're all even now through 7 frames, 133 to 133. Lexington 2 games to none. Deep inside, and that goes through the nose as well, but trips a couple forward, gets the carry.
Seen that happen in prior matches. We've seen matches won and lost because of that, so that's a big break for Aurora.
You think back to last week when Reba Wilkie of Seward in the 10th frame missed the head pin, tripped 3 forward, and Seward went on to win that second game because of that, and went on to win the state championship 3 games to none.
This is a big shot for Sean Bicknace. This could pretty much seal game number 3 for Aurora. It's going to leave the door open just a little bit. Possible 183, or excuse me, a possible 213, I should say, for Aurora. A possible 202 for Lexington. So
big shot here.
Great shot. Still anybody's match.
Yep.
Need to have 2 good attempts at the spares here.
Important spare here for Bicknace to keep that 10-pin advantage. And a good cover by Sean Bicknace. And an equally important shot to keep Lexington in it by Stauffer here on the 10-pin. And a nice cover by Stauffer.
He's done a good job covering his spares.
That's what you wanted to do, at least give your anchor bowler, Sam Fred, the chance to step up and win it for you.
11-pin lead now for Aurora, going into the 10th frame. Troy Hulkern's been around the pocket most of the afternoon. And that, unfortunately,
just a little high, leaves the 310, and he'll have to convert that based on what
sets up another potential tie, Larry.
Way out there, and he comes storming back and trips the 6-pin forward. Big shot. And now an even more important shot for Holtgren.
Well done.
What a shot under pressure. Nice spare conversion. And so that will give them a possible 191 for Aurora.
Count is very important, Larry, for Aurora.
This is a must strike here. Must strike. And he got it. Wow. Right. Lexington still in it. And Lexington with a strike can win it, regardless what Holtgren does here. Holtgren needs a lot of count, though, to put a 191 on the board and force Fred to strike for the win.
Hard and straight. Oh, 7.
So that takes a little bit of the pressure off of Sam Fred. The pressure really came in that he needed the first 2 strikes. So he steps up, needing 7 pins to win a state championship. And he does it.
Money.
Punches out of the 10th frame, and Lexington takes home the trophy.
Just, if I'm head coach Bill Straub and Coach Paul Klempa of the University of Nebraska, I'd have my recruiting coordinator and scouts or whatever looking at that young man. What a great, great release. Strong game.
And a hug for Dad, head coach Dave Fred. And so once again, Lexington wins a state championship. They won it back in 2004. They take home their second in 2008.
The headaches were changing my daily routine.
Migraines caused Karen to see a neurologist who recommended a prescription.
I didn't want the drugs, and that's when she said to start walking. And so I started walking, and I haven't had a headache since. I'm a lot healthier than I was, and I can accomplish a lot more because I feel better. I just let Blue Cross Blue Shield know that I was living proof that walking does work.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska.
The blues are good for you.
Programming on NET television is provided in part by Education Quest Foundation. For over 20 years, Education Quest has provided free college planning resources to help students search colleges, search for scholarships, complete financial aid applications, and learn more about student loans. Education Quest is located in Kearney, Lincoln, and Omaha. Appointments available at 800-666-3721.
Hi, I'm Matt Davison, and I drive Nebraska's highways almost every day. Please use caution when driving in winter weather, and watch for highway workers as they clear the roads. Slow down when you meet a snowplow, and don't brake suddenly if you're traveling in front of one. They can't stop as quickly as a car or pickup. If you're gonna head out in winter weather, check out the Nebraska Travel Information website at 511nebraska.org, or just dial them at 511. Don't take any chances this year. If there's ice and snow, take it slow.
So Lexington wins it in 3 straight over the Huskies for the medal presentations. Let's go to our public address announcer, Craig Carter.
Congratulations to all the participants in today's state championship match. And now for the awards presentation. First, the boys Class B runner-up Aurora Huskies. Coaches Alan Bicknays and Adam Webb. Troy Holtgren. Preston Detter. Tanner Morton. Sean Bicknays. Eric Swazo. Tyrell Shofford. Gentlemen, check. Now for your boys' 2008 Class B state champion Lexington Minutemen, head coach Dave Fred. Nick Walker. Ryan Reiner. Tyler Kricksky. James Liebhart. Sam Fred. Zach Stoffer. Colton Schwartz. Gentlemen, here is your 2008 state championship trophy. Congratulations.
So congratulations one more time to the Minutemen. They are your boys Class B state champs. When we come back, the Class A state title battle between Kearney and Columbus. Stay with us.
The 2008 High School Bowling Championships is provided in part by Nebraska Public Power District, always there when you need us, together with your local public power utility. Education Quest Foundation, improving access to college through scholarships, grants, and college planning services. And by the Allen and Marcia Bear Foundation, the Lincoln Bowling Association, and the Nebraska High School Bowling Federation, promoting bowling across the state of Nebraska.